What's going on, everybody? Another video on the channel. I see it's growing slowly. I'm getting some views, but whatever information I can share is will help somebody else, so that's good. When I was actually leaving New York, which was last year, I believe in April or something, I needed the biggest U-Haul that they have. I think it was like I don't remember how many feet it was anymore, but it was the biggest truck that they had. And I couldn't find one in New York. There was none available for the dates that I wanted. Maybe they were coming back or not, I just don't know, but there were none available. So, what I did, I said, okay, so if they're not available in New York, let me look at New Jersey. Couldn't find any. I even looked at Connecticut and Pennsylvania, and I really couldn't find any. They had the smaller ones, but they didn't have the big ones. I was like, damn, that's kind of crazy. But then I started thinking, let me check if they have any in Texas, because it might be where people are moving from one area and taking those trucks one way, and they're not coming back with them in the other direction. They're not bringing them back. So I checked Texas, and they had like so many of those big trucks, smaller trucks, whatever truck you wanted, they had a lot of them available. And because they had a lot of them available, I had to make a choice where I literally took my personal car. I drove from New York to Texas. I mean, it helped me out in one way, because I pretty much dropped my car off already and delivered it to Texas. So I went to Texas in my car. It took me 2 days to get here. I rented the biggest truck that they had. I believe I paid, if I'm not mistaken, it was like $2,400. They charged me for going from Texas to New York and back. So when I rented the truck in Texas, and they were renting it to me, I said that, listen, I'm going all the way to New York and coming back. So they made sure I got a new truck without, with the least possibility of it breaking down or whatever, low mileage and everything. So I rented the truck. I took another 2 days to drive back to New York empty, which was 4 days of driving. Then I took 2 days to load up in New York, load everything we could possibly fit in that truck, and then took another 2 days to drive from New York to Texas. So within a span of a week to a week and a half, I spent 6 days on the road and pretty much drove almost 5,000 miles, which was crazy. And 2 of those trips were in a big truck, which was uncomfortable. I mean, driving it empty wasn't that bad, but once it was loaded, it was, burning more gas. And I mean, those trucks on U-Haul, they're not good on gas. And with gas being so expensive, I was getting like 8 to 9 miles per gallon. And they were not diesel, they were regular gas. 8, 9 miles a gallon. And I remember driving in that truck, and it wasn't too bad. I mean, I drove box trucks before and things like that. If you have zero experience driving either a small bus or like one of those Isuzu box trucks or whatever, it might be a little bit tougher for you to kind of get used to driving a big truck like that. I mean, I didn't have too much of an issue with it. A friend of mine that was already in Texas, he has a CDL license. I mean, the truck doesn't require CDL, but it's damn big. And in Texas, maybe you don't feel it as much, but once I got that truck to New York, and I was driving through the bridges there and everything, and getting it on Long Island, it was tight. It was much tighter I think I went through the tunnel one way, and it was tight. It was, it was kind of iffy. I mean, the roads were full of potholes in New York, and everything was just loud and all that. But But that's what I had to do. So I had to literally go to New York, to Texas, to rent that truck and go back to New York, empty, load up, and come here. And I believe it was 2,400, if I'm not mistaken. So that was my way of moving. And then my parents were still staying in New York, and I had to bring them here as well. They were kind of finalizing some things. So I drove here in the U-Haul. My wife and kids flew in here about 4 days after. And then within a month or a month and a half, I had to drive back to New York in my wife's SUV to bring the remaining little things my parents still had left there, and they flew in, and I had to drive back in that SUV. So I kind of went once here in my car, 2 trips in a U-Haul, and then there and back in my wife's SUV. So a lot of driving. I mean, the good thing for me is I like driving, so it didn't bother me much. I actually enjoyed it. I like driving. It relaxes me. The longer the drive, the better. Me and my wife, we once took a drive. Maybe I'll elaborate on it in another video or something, but we took a drive from New York to California by car, and we went through the south of the United States to California, and we went through the north of the United States back to New York from California. So it was an amazing trip. That was before we had kids. I think it was like, right now it's 2023. I think it was like 2018, about 5 years ago or so, something like that. So it was interesting. I was kind of used to those long drives. I drove to Florida before. So I did do some driving before, but not in big trucks like that. That truck, I believe it was like 26 or 27 feet, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am mistaken, I don't know, but it was big. So that was what I dealt with. If you have any questions on how to handle renting it or anything like that, let me know. Ask in the comments. I'll try to help out as much as I can, give you pointers or whatever. All right, so that'll be for that video, and I'll find some other subjects for the next ones. If you guys have any questions about different topics, then go ahead and post them in the comments so I can make videos on them. All right, have a great day, guys. Thank you.